So this right here is a video by somebody we have watched videos from before. It is Kagito. Wowhead has announced Classic Plus. I am expecting some premium clickbait on this one. But, hey, maybe they've found something that I haven't found, or we're talking about some of the leaks, which I'm always here for.
Welcome to the channel and today's video. Wowhead now has a full Classic Plus overview guide for a game Blizzard still hasn't officially announced. And I think we've reached the point where I can stop asking myself whether Classic Plus is coming. I think it is. The part I want to know now is when we get to play it. There is one name I want to focus on today because it keeps showing up in all of this: Camelot. Camelot is the codename connected to a mystery internal World of Warcraft build, version 1.60, that has been showing up since last year. Blizzard hasn't told us what Camelot is.
I will say, I have not read this article, by the way, but we already know a lot about Classic Plus just based on data mining. I'm gonna have a video coming out on the main channel that I started recording yesterday, and I'm actually gonna do some editing and stuff, so it's just not just a walk and talk that most people are doing. It's gonna be like a edited thing, pulling some facts together, some data mining, and just looking at everything. Also gonna be a little bit of coping. Of course, you're gonna have to get some copium for that one, and maybe a tinfoil hat, but we do know a lot of things, and I've heard a lot of things as well, and I'll be talking about what I'm expecting based on that. It's going to be a 30-minute video, by the way. I already recorded everything. I think it was 29 minutes, so really close to half an hour of just yapping and showing facts and stuff about Classic Plus. We know way more than most people think, based on, once again, data mining. It's just data mining doesn't show actual gameplay, but it does tell us a lot about which new zones we might expect, which new races we might expect, and you can try to deep dive into the lore as well, and you can start to infer which classes that brand new race can be as well. There's just like a lot of stuff we might already know about, or at least have a very well educated guess on.
They haven't called it Classic Plus either. But if I'm talking about Classic Plus from this point forward, Camelot is the project I'm watching. That mystery build is the thing the Classic community has latched onto as the likely candidate. Then around it we have Blizzard talking about its next major project. In the original WoW design space, Holly Longdale getting stopped halfway through teasing more Classic news, Classic creators visiting Blizzard, and BlizzCon less than a month away. Meanwhile, Wowhead has apparently decided enough people are waiting for this thing that it now needs its own guide. I love that.
Yeah.
Right at the top, they warn readers that Classic Plus still hasn't been confirmed as a product, and the entire guide is speculative.
I really like this though, because like, a lot of people want to know more about Classic Plus right now, and yes, it's still technically an unannounced game, but almost everyone knows that it's being announced at BlizzCon, and I can tell you, like, right now, there's a 99.87% chance that it gets announced at BlizzCon and launches very shortly after. I have a lot of knowledge about these stuff and things. I'm just not gonna say too much. So yeah, just expect something cool at BlizzCon is what I would say, right? And a lot of people just want to know what they can know right now, whether it's leaks, whether it's data mining. So having an article like this in one place where we have everything, that's just cool. I do wonder if they pull up some data mining in this article as well, or if it's just about the streamers and everything and speculations.
Then you scroll down into this enormous collection of clues, history, surveys, and ideas for what Classic Plus could become. For me, the question has changed. What is Camelot? How big is it? And when does Blizzard finally let us play it? Get in the comments and give me your release prediction. Late this year, sometime in 2027, or do you think we're still much further away? That's half the reason I make these videos. And if you're following all this stuff too, subscribing is the easiest.
It's like, I've seen the argument like many times now. Even me and Hammerdance had a lengthy argument about this as well, where like way before the Slate leak, right? He was like, yo, Solheim, there is no way Classic Plus comes out this year. Blizzard is 100% milking Wrath beforehand. And I was like almost buying that argument, and then the Slate leak happened, and almost everyone now is just like, yeah, 2026 release 100%. And I can't see them playing through Wrath or even launching Wrath before, because in that case, Wrath comes out very likely around March of next year, like late February, somewhere in March. In which case, they would probably give us Classic Plus either in the Ulduar phase, which is usually when a lot of guilds start dropping off, or they would play through the entirety of Wrath and then give us Classic Plus. In which case, Classic Plus would either come out 1 year from now, or 1.5 years from now, both of which are way too late. So my counter argument here is that if they give us Classic Plus now, a lot of people will almost instantly quit TBC and just only play Classic Plus. But if Wrath comes out in March, a lot of people might have accomplished a lot of things in Classic Plus because we consume content so fast now that in March we would have played Classic Plus for half a year, and trust me, the honeymoon phase does fade off over time. So in half a year after Classic Plus, we would get Wrath. But you would still want to play Classic Plus, which would lead to more boost sales, because you don't want to waste time leveling up in Wrath when you can just buy a level boost in Wrath and spend your time in Classic Plus. So suddenly, the Classic Plus launching before Wrath argument is a way for Blizzard to sell more boost in Wrath, aka make more money.
Way to catch the next one. Because after going through everything Wowhead has collected, I think the case for another major version of Classic is stronger than it has ever been. Let's start with the name. Camelot appeared in June when data miners connected.
I will say, by the way, based on the bits and pieces that I know and have been figuring out and have been theory crafting as well, I don't think the name Camelot has anything at all to do with the actual gameplay in Classic Plus. And like, people have been speculating that maybe because it's Camelot, they're going to focus on Arthas and Frostmourne, the sword in the stone is going to be old school, going back to the roots, like a bunch of different vibes around the Camelot name. Based on what I've heard, and also what I've been theory crafting and kind of figured out by now, I believe, it's not looking like it's going to be super relevant. It's just a code name they had, really.
To an internal World of
I could be wrong, though.
Warcraft build that had already been seen as far back as October last year. That build is version 1.60. Nobody outside Blizzard can tell you what is actually inside it.
Yeah.
Codename doesn't reveal the game, and Camelot is very unlikely to be the final name players see. But this is the build I think matters. When people say Classic Plus right now, this is the mystery project I have in my head. Camelot has basically become the placeholder while we wait for Blizzard to tell us what they're actually making. And the version number is one reason people care so much about it. Classic Era used version 1.13. Season of Mastery moved to 1.
I feel like a very good name for this, because I think Classic Plus would have its own alternate timeline, say a new timeline, where we don't go through the Dark Portal. Maybe we see things differently, the things happen differently. It's gonna be a whole brand new, like if you have Classic WoW that is timeline 1, and Retail is kind of timeline 2, but it's been following the Classic WoW timeline, but it's like evolved to badly. Classic Plus would just be a separate thing entirely, I think. It could be Blizzard's attempt to make, like, to fix their mistakes as well in that timeline, because I think in Retail, they've made a bunch of mistakes. Classic Plus could be their attempt to do things a little bit differently this time. But yeah, my point here was that I think they're going to do a whole separate timeline thing, and based on that, a very good name for Classic Plus would be World of Warcraft Dawn of a New Era, or a New Era, just New Era as well works, or like New Dawn, New Era something.
1.14.
It could also be something that I've been theory crafting for a while, the Stormy Seas of Azeroth, or Classic WoW, the South Seas, or something. I don't know. I think that's going to be more like expansion content, though. because I fully believe Classic Plus will get expansions. It's just gonna get expansions in different ways than most people think about expansions, because when I say expansions, everyone instantly thinks new raid, new level cap, new materials, because over the time of WoW, that is what expansions has been. But we could get expansions in Classic Plus while keeping horizontal progression. They could just add the continents with a new leveling area, a new endgame area, a new raid, but the raid doesn't bring like a bunch of power spikes and no new level caps. It's just like adding a bunch of content. It's like a DLC, but it's an expansion. So I fully believe expansions are coming, because why wouldn't they? If they follow the retail WoW expansion timeline of every 18 months as well, and they can sell you an expansion for $60, they can effectively earn, I think that would be 30% more revenue from each player. And that is assuming that's the only thing they do, but when they do expansions, they also sell cosmetics, they sell mounts, they sell collector's editions, they sell level boosts. It's a lot of stuff that generates way more money as well, but the baseline is a 30% increase.
Season of Discovery went to 1.15, so if Blizzard were simply following that pattern with another normal Classic season, 1.16 would be the obvious number you might expect next. Camelot is 1.60. That doesn't prove anything about its content. Blizzard can number internal builds however it wants, but it is strange enough to get people's attention.
Yeah.
There is another part of this that I find even more interesting. Season of Discovery shared a lot of its underlying Classic infrastructure with the other versions of the game. During SOD, Blizzard regularly had to deal with technical limitations and cases where changes meant for one version caused problems somewhere else. If Blizzard now wants to make something far more ambitious in Old Azeroth, giving that project more room to exist separately would make sense. That doesn't tell us whether Camelot has new zones, new races, or a new level cap. It does make 1.60 much harder for me to ignore. Camelot would be much easier to dismiss if it existed by itself. It doesn't.
Yeah.
In May last year, when Blizzard began winding down active development on Season of Discovery, the Classic team talked about what they had learned from it. They said Season of Discovery proved there was an enormous appetite for new experiences set against the backdrop of original World of Warcraft. Then they said they were beginning work on their next major project in what they call the original WoW design space. That part is important. There is a major project. Blizzard told us that themselves. They also talked about big plans and big ambitions for this type of content, and about taking the ideas and lessons from Season of Discovery and shaping them into something for the long-term future of WoW Classic. That was May 2025. Camelot started appearing a few months later. Now jump forward to January 29th this year. During the State of Azeroth presentation, Holly Longdale reached the Classic section and said Classic players around the world had a lot to look forward to. Then she started saying she was excited to announce some really exciting news. Somebody off camera stopped her. She laughed and said they would save that for later. I don't think we need to invent much around that clip. She very clearly had more Classic news that Blizzard wasn't ready to reveal during that presentation. And now BlizzCon is almost here. For me, this has gone far beyond hoping Blizzard might someday try another experiment in vanilla WoW. They already told us another major project is being made. Camelot is the mystery build sitting in front of us while we wait to see what that project actually is. There are smaller things around that core story too. At the end of 2025, Blizzard published its year in review, and again talked about working on the long-term future of WoW Classic. People also noticed it to what looked like plus signs on the page. I am absolutely not putting a plus sign in the same category as an internal build or Blizzard openly talking about another major project. It could just be design. It is very funny, though, then in May this year several well-known Classic creators visited Blizzard headquarters. Zaryu, Savix, Sodapoppin, Guzu, and Esfund were there. None of them publicly explained what Blizzard had invited them to see or do. Maybe Camelot had nothing to do with that visit, we don't know, but if Blizzard has a major Classic project in development and a group of major Classic creators suddenly spends time at Blizzard HQ a few months before BlizzCon, people are obviously going to pay attention. Wowhead even brings Blizzard's recent fight against private servers into the discussion.
Yeah.
This year has been brutal for that scene. Blizzard has been going after several major
I've seen so many interesting takes about those streamers being invited to BlizzCon, not to BlizzCon, well, probably BlizzCon as well, but especially to Blizzard headquarters. A lot of people just seem to be on an anti-streamer movement right now or something, man. I feel like some of these streamers have very grounded takes even on what Classic Plus should be, and some of them, despite doing Classic WoW or streaming as a full-time job and playing this game way more than most people, they're able to put themselves into the position of their communities because they interact with their communities quite often as well. Like, for example, I really like Saryu. Like, Saryu's takes on Classic Plus, I really like. I don't think he's been talking about the end game very much, but he's been talking about leveling, hardcore, leveling challenges, the pacing, and different philosophies behind Classic Plus as well, and I think they all make sense, whether you're a hardcore gamer or a dad gamer, like whatever you are. It seems like he's talking about what he wants in Classic Plus, but not just what he wants, but what his community wants and what the general sense of things. It's way less about the subjectivity, or what is it called again? Like, he's able to look at it more objectively than subjectively, and think what is best for Classic Plus for the majority of people that are going to play this game, instead of just like, what does he benefit from? That's something that I try to do as well whenever I talk about Classic Plus. I try to separate the two, because sometimes I make a video on what I want to see, in which case that video will be all about what I personally subjectively want, and then we have videos about what I think the general amount of people want to have. One example of this, like, I try to separate myself as a gamer versus me as a content creator, and one perfect example of that for me is about the beta, like beta or alpha or testing in general of Classic Plus. As a gamer, I want to go into Classic Plus not having played or seen anything about this game. I want to go in and just experience everything for the first time. That would be great. But as somebody who makes more videos than streams, like, I'm a YouTuber over a streamer, I'm just somebody who talks. I talk and I make video guides every now and then. I would benefit a lot as a content creator from having access to a beta, especially if they do what they did in TBC or Wrath, for example, where they even gave content creators beta keys to do giveaways for their viewers. I benefited massively from that, and if they did the same for Classic Plus, that is something I would once again stand to benefit a lot from. But in this case, you have me the gamer and me the content creator. The content creator would kind of want to have one of these betas, and the gamer in me just wants to play the game for the first time with everybody else and experience everything at the same time. Does that make sense?
projects, and the timing reminds people of Nostalrius. Nostalrius was shut down in 2016. Official WoW Classic was announced around 18 months later at BlizzCon 2017. I would be very careful with this one. Blizzard has obvious reasons to protect World of Warcraft regardless of whatever Camelot turns out to be. A lawsuit or shutdown isn't proof that Blizzard is clearing space for Classic Plus, but I understand why people notice the parallel. The funniest thing is that Classic Plus itself is much older than Camelot. Wowhead points out that you can easily find people discussing the idea back in 2019, and the concept actually goes back further than that. It was already being talked about around the old Nostalrius discussions. Then we had another big Classic Plus hype cycle before BlizzCon 2023. People thought Blizzard might finally do it. Blizzard announced Season of Discovery instead. And for a little while, plenty of people wondered whether SOD basically was Blizzard's answer to Classic Plus.
Yeah.
In some ways it probably helped.
Dude, the announcement of Season of Discovery was so insane. I didn't even expect that, to be fair. Like, I don't think anyone did, because Season of Mastery was so held back versus what Season of Discovery ended up being. So Season of Discovery just really started my theory crafting on Classic Plus and being like, what can Blizzard do here, and what will they do? Because prior to Season of Discovery, the only thing I had seen Blizzard done in a Classic Plus sense was Season of Mastery, which I personally think sucked. it did not have enough changes. It was fine for what it is, what it was, I guess, but Season of Mastery was just not enough changes in my opinion. And then you have some like vanilla purists that might have been like, Season of Mastery was the perfect Classic Plus, in which case, good for you. Not good for me though, apparently.
Create whatever comes next. Blizzard got to experiment inside old Azeroth. They changed classes, added new abilities, opened old unfinished ideas, made new encounters, and even added new endgame content. Then Blizzard finished that experiment and told us they were taking what they learned into their next major project. That is why 2026 feels different to me. Years ago, Classic Plus was mostly something players wanted. Now we know Blizzard has a major project in this exact part of WoW. We have Camelot, we have 1.60, and we're less than a month from BlizzCon.
I'm wondering if this game will feel seasonal or permanent. Because when it comes to Classic Plus, I think people want a permanent home in a Classic WoW that is evolving. But I get the feeling that it's gonna have seasonal style gameplay. And I'm just like, I'm not sure if I want that, or it depends on the implementation. It's just, if they're gonna do an alternate timeline, yeah, I don't know. I'll have to wait and see. We're only like 3 weeks away anyway from finding out, so.
There is another reason Blizzard has a very difficult reveal ahead of them. Players have already designed Classic Plus. Wowhead links to the Classic Plus project, a community site where people have been voting on what they actually want from a future version of Classic. Some of the numbers are huge. More than 31,000 people answered the question about heroic dungeons, and around 66% wanted them. More than 24,000 answered a question about adding more class quests. Around 72% said yes. Then you get to races. More than 20,000 people took part there, and only around 15% said they wanted no new races at all. Blood Elves came out on top at around 68%. High Elves were at around 52%. Goblins were close to
This right there, and that's why I think we're getting Skyborn, which is going to be a faction-neutral race, and they're going to look like Blood Elves, and you can choose to go Alliance or Horde between level 10 and 15. That way, the Horde technically gets Blood Elves, and the Alliance technically gets High Elves, and Blizzard can tie this into the Chandrilar lore, and make these guys the children of the hidden, or the children of the sky. I think this one could be very easy, an easy W for them.
50. And then Drakthir were sitting down there at less than 4%. Apparently, even in an imaginary game, somebody...
Yeah, but Drakthir is so stupid, man. I've said this multiple times, like, I'm somebody who plays both retail and classic, right? Drakthir is the stupidest addition to retail of all time. It's so stupid. It really is. I think I would rather have everything else we have in retail. Call it Disney WoW, I don't care. Do Disney, give me housing, sell me a bunch of stuff. Just take Drakthir away.
Has to finish last. These surveys don't represent every Classic player. They're people who chose to visit a Classic Plus community site and vote. So we shouldn't pretend Blizzard has just been handed the results of some perfect scientific poll. What they do show is how far this has gone. Thousands and thousands of players are already voting on the races, dungeons, and class content they want in a game Blizzard hasn't shown them yet. Everyone has their version. Mine is mostly about Azeroth itself. I want the old, unfinished places used. I want new quest lines and strange corners of the world that finally have a purpose. I want reasons to go back through places like Stranglethorn even after I've outleveled them. Most of all, I want Azeroth to stay the important part. Other people want huge class changes, some want new races, some want heroic dungeons, and a completely different endgame at 60. Some probably want Classic to stay so close to vanilla that adding a second mailbox would start a civil war. And somehow, Blizzard has to reveal one game to all of us.
Yeah. I do think those vanilla purists who would be mad about one more mailbox, they're gonna get pissed off. They will hate Classic Plus, I think.
That hunger for information is also why the leaks have become ridiculous.
Yeah.
On August 7th, somebody posted a detailed Classic Plus leak on MMO Champion. It had a new troll starting zone, faster leveling, molten core changes, raid conveniences, undead paladins, and a whole collection of other details. The writer claimed some information was second-hand and some was third-hand. They also said certain details had been changed or added to protect sources. It looked like a Classic Plus leak. People started talking about it like a Classic Plus leak. Then the author edited the post and admitted the whole thing was rage bait, made to prove a point to a friend. They apologized for wasting people's time and told everyone to wait for BlizzCon, which is probably pretty good advice. The funny thing is that I don't think people are desperate for fake leaks because they doubt a project exists anymore. I think the opposite is happening. A lot of people are convinced something is coming. So now every random person claiming to know what Camelot contains gets an audience. That's the stage we're in. The mystery has moved from whether Blizzard is working on something to what on earth they have actually put inside it.
Yeah.
As I'm recording this on August 17th, BlizzCon starts in 26 days. That is where I think we finally see what Blizzard has been cooking. Maybe they call it Classic Plus? I actually wouldn't be surprised if they don't. They could give it a completely different name and spend the next 10 years watching everyone call it Classic Plus anyway. Maybe Camelot itself turns out to be something we haven't thought of. But when I put everything together, I am done sitting on the fence about the bigger question. Blizzard has already said it is working on another major project in the original WoW design space. We have a strange 1.60 internal build connected to the codename Camelot. We have the lessons from Season of Discovery feeding into Blizzard's future plans. We have Holly Longdale stopping halfway through another classic announcement. And now even Wowhead has an entire classic.
Another thing we have is, if anybody was at the Dungeons and Dragons convention, apparently, I can't find any clips about this, by the way, but I believe I saw a clip, and maybe that clip has been deleted or something now, but I believe she mentioned something about undead paladins, which is interesting, because I don't even think we have that in retail right now.
Plus guide ready before Blizzard has given the thing a public name. So yes, I think Classic Plus is coming. Call it Camelot for now. The question I care about is when we get it. Could Blizzard reveal it at BlizzCon and launch something before the end of this year? Maybe.
Yeah.
But if this really is the larger long-term project Blizzard has been talking about, and after years of fake leaks, forum wishlists, and people trying to read secret messages into plus signs, getting an actual date might be the strangest part of all. So give me yours. When does Camelot release? And what do you think Blizzard actually calls it?
I think Camelot or Classic Plus releases very shortly after BlizzCon. I'm thinking between, okay, I want to say between 2 and 6 weeks. I think I'm leaning more towards 2, but it could be up to 6. I'm leaning more towards 2, like shortly after BlizzCon. I think they want to do super surprise.
When they finally put it on the screen. If you've watched this far into a video about the release date of an internal build called Camelot, you should probably subscribe. There are only 26 days until BlizzCon, and I have a feeling we're going to have plenty to talk about. Thank you so much for watching. Until the next one, take care.
Well, right, dude, this was a good video. Yeah, dude, I love Kajito videos. I said it before, I'll say it again, this guy makes banger content. I'm gonna leave a link to the video down below as well, so go and check it out. He has been covering a bunch of, like, private server stuff. I'm glad to see this one was just about Classic Plus, personally. But, yeah, I'm gonna leave a link to it down below in the video description, so go and check it out. And thank you for watching me checking this out today. I will see you guys in the next video, which probably is gonna be tomorrow or later today. Bye-bye.